I couldn't believe I was being called a liar on live TV right after hitting my 7th lottery jackpot. They told me they were on to me, that even though they didn't know exactly how, I had to be doing something shady, that they just really couldn't believe there was any way for a person to win the lottery game grand prize 7 times. I tried to tell them that I wasn't doing anything illegal or cheating or violating any rules, that I just had an easy method I was using, and that it happened to work extraordinarily well. Heck, I even tried offering to share it with them, but none of them would give me the time of the day or listen, and I was scared that a fight was about to break out. And I completely hated thinking about what would have happened to me if the quick-thinking security staff didn't turn off the lights, causing the furious crowd to get distracted for a split second, giving me enough time to flee for my life. Barely making it to my car and burning rubber as I peeled out of the parking lot, headed towards the safety of my home. Even before the day I hit my 5th lottery win, $842,152.91, I'd been on such a rush, which produced an incredible amount of winnings in the last 3 months just by playing the lotto and using a deceivingly easy method I'd created to predict winners. I'd finally been able to clear up all of my debts, some of which had been lingering over me for years. I'd taken my family on a 10-day Royal Caribbean Alaskan cruise, where we stayed in the penthouse suite, living like royalty as we enjoyed all the daily activities they had to offer. I was able to buy my children all the clothes they've been wanting for years, new running shoes, the latest video games, the latest toys, everything. I even just closed the deal on my dream house, a gorgeous house with a resort-style pool in a quiet and safe neighborhood in the best school district in the entire county. So, with that being said, you're probably wondering who the heck I am. Hi, my name is Richard, and I'm the only person in the world who is a 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. How many other lottery gurus can claim that and have the proof to back it up? First off, you can find actual documentation of my winnings right on the Florida Lottery website, flalottery.com. You can also find me on Google. I've been asked to appear on national TV several times to share my lottery-winning methods. Here I am on The Rachel Ray Show. Here I am with Mike Tyson. Here I am with Robin Roberts from Good Morning America. No one, and I mean no one, has ever won the 7 lottery game grand prizes. I know because I was recently recognized by Ripley's Believe It or Not. Because of my rare feat of winning 7 times, I've been on the Learning Channel, Good Morning America, Fox and Friends, The Today Show in Australia, and many more. Winning all this money was nice, but I eventually came to the conclusion that if I was going to keep using this revolutionary method I developed to crack the lotto code, and keep building long-term wealth by putting more and more money in the bank with it, I needed to start being a little more cautious. Because here's the reality. Once you know how to crack the lotto code, which is what I'm going to share with you in this short presentation, there are going to be tons of people who aren't going to be happy about it. As you hold winning ticket after winning ticket for months at a time, you'll have to start rotating the gas stations where you buy your tickets, because the owners hate having to pay out cash from their registers. And even when you win the bigger prizes, $5,000, $15,000, maybe even $150,000 or so, these store managers and owners still won't be pleased. They become terrified the state will start monitoring them and trying to figure out what makes their store so special. Yet, here's the thing, and it has nothing to do with their store and everything to do with how you're picking your numbers. That's the secret to how I've been successful winning the lottery jackpot 7 times, and 23 times in the last few years. These winners weren't all major jackpots, by the way. Some of the tickets were just for $6,000 or $13,000. Not enough to make you wealthy, but definitely enough to make your life a whole lot more comfortable. And it's the same secret a few other lucky people have used to do the same thing once I shared it with them. People like Larry Dawson of Webster City, Iowa, who came forward with his wife Kathy to accept their $9.09 million jackpot. He told lottery officials and media that after Kathy saw this guy on TV, Richard Lustig, who'd won a bunch of lottery game grand prizes, she bought this book and started to play just for fun. And Jennifer and Sean from Florida, who says, "My husband and I used Richard Lustig's method, and within months we hit a mega money jackpot for $2 million. We'll only play Lotto from now on using these strategies." And Richard Taylor Crisfield from Maryland, who says, "I decided to purchase an entire package of scratch-off tickets, Maryland Lottery Ravens. I utilized my winnings to purchase another package, and in that package, December 2011, was a $250,000 winning scratch-off ticket." Now, being a complete math nut and obsessed with crunching numbers, if you'd asked me 20 years ago if there was some secret to winning the lottery consistently, or to really know in advance to what the winning numbers were going to be, I would have more likely than not laughed in your face and called you an idiot. I mean, I did know that to some extent the games all had to be beatable because they'd been created by humans, and as a result it was impossible for them to be perfect. But if winning the lottery, not just one time, but even many times was so simple, then we'd all be millionaires, right? There's no way in hell of that, I thought. And even the first half of my life, I'd never even purchased a lottery ticket. But it all quickly changed for me in the 1980s in Orlando. Just like everybody else, I had dreams of winning it big. And just like everybody else, I'd win a few bucks here and there, but nothing to write home about. I kept watching many lottery jackpots hit over and over. It was all anyone on the news or at work was talking about. Now, I did have job security, but it didn't pay much, and I was also piled high in debt, something that always seemed to be weighing my family down and stopping us from getting ahead in life. And I almost always felt like I was just barely getting by. I definitely was never in a position to purchase or even drive an elaborate sports car, or to live in a wonderful home where I felt like my family would be both comfortable and safe. And there were many months I was uncertain about where the money would come from to pay for my kids' school supplies or to put 3 healthy meals on the table. My wife was working 2 jobs, that it was just making her tired and, she promises, even triggering her to age faster than the average person. I mean, we weren't extremely poor, but we were struggling. And, of course, like so many other Americans, I was tired of it. I knew something had to be done for me and my family. We couldn't live like this anymore. I would spend between $20 and $40 at various gas stations trying to figure out a way to win. Rather than settle for losing each time, I began trying and experimenting with different ways I could increase the odds of winning. Now, I wasn't really winning at this time, but I knew I was on the right track. I was so sick and tired of turning on the news and watching some elderly lady from South Florida crying with happiness and telling everyone all the magnificent things she intended to do with her newfound wealth. I just knew that if I got really good at putting as many odds in my favor, I could beat the lottery and win on a consistent basis, just like these individuals. After that, it was back to the old routine, working extremely hard for barely any money, hardly ever seeing my wife because of her busting her butt working 2 jobs, trying to give my child a normal life, even though their parents were always either at work or very tired. But even though I didn't win, there was something that kept really bothering me. Why is it that there are a few people who have won the lottery numerous times while the majority of us never seem to ever win? I mean, I don't know about you, but it always seemed like I was hearing stories about these unbelievably lucky people who'd hit their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or even 8th ticket. The headlines were everywhere. The Texas Lottery never investigated Joan Ginther, who won $5.4 million in a 1993 Lotto Texas drawing, and then hit it big in 3 scratch-off games. $2 million in Holiday Millionaire in 2006, $3 million in Millions and Millions in 2008, and $10 million and a $140 million extreme payoff in 2010. A lucky man from Airdrie, Alberta wins Lotto for $17 million. The court orders Western Canada Lottery Corp to pay this multiple winner. He wins $1 million, $100,000, $50,000, and $1.3 million. Northwest Territory woman wins Lotto Millions for second time, who's now more than $7 million richer after her second lottery winner in 4 years. Man wins $3 million in 2013, then last year wins another jackpot of $10 million. Play 4 champ, 568 winners in 15 months. Panama City Beach man defies the odds, wins Florida Lotto 2 times in 6 months. Lucky Carthage man becomes instant millionaire again. And it seemed very odd to me that this was going on, that there was just this small group of people from all over the world who were really, really lucky. I looked at the likelihood of all this, by the way, and I saw that for any pick-6 type game, the odds of winning were around 1 in 13,983,816. Clearly, those aren't the best odds, but they just made me even more curious about what these multiple winners were doing that I wasn't. I mean, did they have some kind of lotto winning secret? Did they know something that the rest of us didn't? I just needed to know. It was causing me to lose sleep at night, and so over the next some odd years I did something pretty crazy. I continued to try everything. I'd sit at the Florida Lottery website for hours on end and try to reverse engineer and work my way backwards to figure out what led to winning. I spent hours trying to find winning patterns. I took every idea and variable that could be tested and kept track of what worked and what didn't. What I soon learned amazed me. I realized there were common components and patterns that all these repeat lottery winners shared. I began researching and analyzing every jackpot these winners won and how they won, becoming beyond obsessed with these common components and patterns. I also started writing down the strategies that worked and quickly tossed out those that didn't. I was on the right path to winning as I began to win more and more each time. As I was winning even a little money at the time, there were many people who want to be your friend, but they may not all have the best intents. That's actually something very important, and you're going to need to remember, because after I show you how my winning number method works, and you start winning a hefty payout pretty much every month, you're going to have tons of friends, family, neighbors, and even complete strangers trying to ask you for money, particularly if you aren't watchful and don't stay under the radar. So, please, make sure you're smart about your winnings. It was truly fascinating to see what was transpiring here. Again, my fascination with these common components and patterns would not stop. Well, being a complete math nut, I started crunching numbers like you wouldn't believe. I took their winning patterns and the numbers they chose and played around with them, combining the vital components of each and adding a couple extra principles of probability that I knew should increase the odds of predicting a winner even more. I became hooked on studying the winning drawings for all of the different major lotteries each night, to see if the formula I was working extremely hard on was showing any potential. For what felt like a long time, about a little over a year, I would say, I had nothing to show for all my hard work. And then it suddenly happened. I was on one of the hundreds of variations of the formula I was developing, and I just used it to try to calculate the winning numbers for the latest Fantasy 5 drawing. Like clockwork, I went online to check what the actual winning numbers were, but what I saw made my jaw drop almost to the floor. The method I'd been slaving over had accurately predicted every single number, all 5 of them. Well, at first I was pretty upset. If I had actually purchased a ticket using my numbers, I would have won a ton of money. That felt horrible, and I started beating myself up for being stupid until it dawned on me. The formula I'd been constructing and perfecting for nearly 20 years appeared to have worked. Of course, it could have been a coincidence, so I had to just keep trying it. But you better believe I didn't just stand on the sidelines and watch any longer. Instead, I took around $50 and purchased tickets to several different popular lotto games. Games like Mega Millions, Powerball, Fantasy 5, etc. And sure enough, boom, there it was. I was holding a $13,696 Florida Fantasy 5 grand prize winner right in my hand. And a short while after that, boom, there it was again. I'd hit the Mega Millions jackpot for a whopping grand prize of $842,000. Then another short time after that, I won again when I locked in another Fantasy 5 ticket worth $73,658.06. Luckily, I'd actually purchased the ticket this time. It was amazing. I couldn't believe what was happening, and it all felt like a dream, until I drove down to the state lottery office, collected my checks, and put them in the bank. You probably don't need to be told how great that felt, to all of a sudden not have to worry about money anymore, to be able to pay off your debts, to purchase a Lexus for your wife, or a Ferrari for myself, or a BMW for your kid, or really any car you've ever imagined getting. To see the expressions on the guys at the dealership's faces when they ask to run a credit check on you and you say, "No, I'll just go ahead and pay cash." Or to be idolized by your entire family, to quickly make more money in a couple of months of playing the lotto than you'd earned in the last 5 years of working 40, 50, 60, or even 80 hours per week. Well, over the next couple of months, I kept using my formula, and I won 2 more times. No, I wasn't making millions and millions of dollars, but I was nailing prizes worth anywhere from a couple thousand to a few $100,000, and that was just fine by me. The lottery office started to look at me very strangely as I made the trip to see them just about every other week. I think half of them were smiling, and the other half worried, but they couldn't do anything about it. They knew, just like you do, that it's impossible to cheat the lotto, and I wasn't doing anything dishonest or immoral. I'd simply take the basic components and patterns of each of these multi-winners, learned what seemed to be so special about them, adjusted them using some additional probability theory, also combining it with my own 20 years of hard work, testing, tracking, and tweaking just about every method out there, and turning them into a plug-and-play lottery winning method. I've nicknamed it Lotto Dominator. You'll finally start winning lotteries and be able to accomplish anything you want in life. It's something that anyone can do. Even if you have problems with simple math, it doesn't matter, because it's so easy. That's exactly what Bill Merriman of Melbourne, Australia did. I picked up $46,000 last week in our Powerball lottery as a result of keeping the same numbers. And Kevin, who's now winning consistently using my methods. Before your methods, I played for 20 years. The most I ever won was $86. Now, I win about $100 a week. I even won tickets of $1,000 and $5,000. I've won $23,075 since. And another review from Jason in Kansas City, Missouri, who won big using my methods while playing the $100 million blockbuster scratch-off. Oh my God, I won $10,000 today on the $100 million blockbuster scratch-off. I can't believe it. I'm looking at the card over and over again. Now, it's important to understand you're not going to win every time. You may also not win the Powerball jackpot next week. Sorry to say, but that's just being truthful. However, if you're fine with winning thousands of dollars on the tickets you buy on a pretty frequent basis, and also once in a while hitting a smaller size jackpot that's worth between $200,000 and $3 million or so, doing it over the course of about every 3 to 6 months, then the Lotto Dominator method I've created will work perfectly for you. All right, so you're probably pretty anxious to know how my secret formula works, and I'll give you all of the details right now. 1. Start writing down the previous winning numbers for each of the games you want to play. I personally recommend you get a fresh legal pad that you use solely for this purpose. If you don't already have one, you can quickly buy one from Walmart, Office Depot, or Dollar General for less than $1. 2. Once you have the winning numbers for at least 7 previous drawings, and you can look these up online in just a few minutes, you plug them into the simple formula I teach you inside the Lotto Dominator system. This formula is based on lots of complex mathematics, but I've done all the hard work for you, so that you just basically need to add and divide a couple of numbers. Use a calculator if you choose to, but even the most 7-year-olds will be able to do this mentally without any issues. 3. Go purchase your tickets based on the winning numbers my formula gives you. Practically every single lottery game in the world is based on the same mathematical values, which means that the formula you'll be getting works for all of them. So, play as many games as you want, but don't spend more than $20 to $25 or so, because there's no reason to. 4. You may find out that you've won only a small prize of a few $1,000s or so the first time. Or you may not win the first time at all. Either way, don't get discouraged. The numbers don't lie, and it will only be a short matter of time before you're going to hit. 5. As a good rule of thumb, you should focus on winning once or twice per month, for a payout of around $15,000 to $20,000. Some months you may only win $10,000, and other months you may hit numerous winners or a jackpot and find yourself cashing a check for $200,000. Winning a jackpot is an unbelievable feeling, but I think it's important to set realistic expectations, which is why I say to go for $15,000 to $20,000 per month or so. 6. Keep repeating for as long as you want. This can become your full-time job if you want it to, and you'll be astonished at the long-term stability. All lotto games in the world have the same principle, so this will always work for you, even if a certain game is no longer available or a new one is released. That's really it. Although, like I stated before, I highly recommend you do try to stay under the radar. It's probably in your best interest to hire a financial planner and an accountant after your first couple of wins. While sometimes they can sort of be the fun killer, they'll really help you make sure that you're investing your hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars wisely, so you can turn the cash you win into even more money. Oh yeah, and also, you might want to donate some of the money you make to charity or a good cause. Not right away, because you'll probably be more focused on making large cash payments to settle any debts you may have, or buying your new house, or getting your spouse a new Lexus, or taking your child on vacation. But once you've won your 4th, 5th, 12th, maybe even 20th time over a few-year period, I think it's really important to stay humble and to give a little back to some well-deserving charity. One of the most valuable lessons I learned after being extremely wealthy now is to give back and to help other people who are less fortunate. After you reach a certain amount in the bank and you have everything you've been longing for, the money in the bank account would just be a number. Believe me, giving back will provide more pleasure than having all the money in the world. Okay, so by now you're probably wondering how you can get your hands on Lotto Dominator. Well, I've had so many friends and family members ask me that same exact question, and for a while I was pondering what the best way to share this information would be. Eventually, what I decided to do was to take my formula, along with some other essential tips and pieces of inside info I've collected over the years, and put them into an online guide that anyone could read and download directly from their computers, tablets, or smartphones, or even print out as many copies as they want. I think that by giving you the access to the same formula I've used to hit several pretty major winning tickets over the past few years, it can be kind of like my version of giving back, which is, as I mentioned, an extremely important thing to me. Plus, I remember how horrific it is to feel like you're financially struggling, like you're always getting endless bills, like there's just always some unpredicted expense popping up that makes you ask, where are we going to get the money to pay for this? I'm not trying to say this is you because, honestly, I don't know. But what I am saying is, I remember how much it pained me to always say no to my kids when they tried to put a $5 box of their favorite fruit snacks in the cart while we were grocery shopping. Or they brought a $10 new toy up to the checkout line and I really couldn't jeopardize buying it for them and not being able to pay our electric bill. And I love that feeling of financial security I now experience every day. I love that new car smell that all of my luxury vehicles have. And I love that each of my kids' college funds now have $50,000 in them, cash that's 100% safe, and that will give them an incredible head start for the rest of their lives. Lotto Dominator is only available here on this website, and I can't let too many people know it exists because, while I do want to give it back, if everyone had access to this incredibly easy but proven formula, well, it could seriously shut down the entire lottery industry, and then no one would win. Up until now, I've had it priced here for $300. That may sound like a lot of money, but if you're winning even just $3,000 in your first month, which is a lot less than almost everyone else who's used this method has won, then you can see why $300 is a pretty small investment. But, like I said, I had it priced at $300. That was in the beginning, but today I'm going to do something a little bit crazy. You see, right now I'm limiting the number of copies of Lotto Dominator to a total of 200. After that, this website comes down and no one else can get it because, like I talked about before, we can't have too many winners here. Well, 138 people have already gotten their hands on this guide, accessed it instantly online, and used it to win anywhere from tens of thousands to even a few $1 million in the past 6 months. And I'm really starting to get worried that the lottery corporations are going to come after me for sharing this with people, even though it's 100% legal and doesn't do anything wrong, which is why I've decided to cut the price of Lotto Dominator even more, so that you don't have to pay $300 for immediate access to the life-altering information that's inside, and make it available to you today for just $147. You can get it now by clicking that Add to Cart button you see below this screen here. But if you do want to beat the lottery and start winning on a full-time basis, it's very important that you act right now. Many hard-working and deserving people without much money have been pleading with me for months to give away my method like I'm doing right now. And I can promise you that these final 62 copies are going to go quickly. That's good for me, because the faster we reach 200, the faster I can take this offer down and protect myself. But it does mean you need to make a decision now. Oh, and one last thing I should tell you. Over the last 6 months, as I've been talking to some of the few hundred people who are using Lotto Dominator to make a 6-figure income off of about $25 or $35 per week in tickets, they've been telling me that there are some other websites on the internet that also talk about winning the lottery. It's pretty disgraceful, but they've been saying that these sites are run by people who have no clue about what they're talking about. Well, you've just listened to my story and saw with your very own eyes proof that the results I've gotten are 100% genuine, and that the repeat winnings of the people I've helped so far are 100% genuine. But because I know being trustworthy is huge, I'm also going to take this one step further and offer you a 100% money-back guarantee That's good for a full 60 days. Here's how it works. You simply click the Add to Cart button that you see below this presentation now. Once you do that and enter your information through the secure checkout page I've set up, you'll be taken to a special VIP members-only area where you get immediate access to Lotto Dominator. You can view the tips, the advice, and, of course, the winning methods right from your computer, tablet, or smartphone. You can download it. You can print out as many copies as you want, whatever you choose to do. And then, just follow the exact steps I tell you inside. Try out my method for a full 60 days with absolutely zero risk. I already know you're going to get some enormous wins here, but I also know that seeing is believing, which is why I want you to experience the power of holding winner after winner for yourself. So, if for any reason whatsoever you're not completely satisfied with your decision over the next 60 days, simply send an email to the address I'll provide you inside the VIP members-only area, and I'll instantly refund your $147 with absolutely zero questions asked. So, really, what possibly do you have to lose? You're basically just saying maybe to a lottery prediction method that's already helped many other people just like you to make serious money from the lottery, some even millions, and if you change your mind, that's perfectly okay. I'm not bothered by it, and you get your investment returned immediately. I honestly don't think that's going to happen, though, because Lotto Dominator has been proven to work time and time again. So go ahead and try it out for yourself now by clicking the Add to Cart button right now. But remember, there are just 62 copies left of this, and once we hit that maximum number of 200, this website will be taken down for good. Really. The decision is yours, but can you really see for any reason not to change your life today? If not, then go ahead and act now, and you'll have access to the complete method in about 2 minutes from now. It's that simple. To a life full of prosperity and joy, Richard Lustig, Orlando, Florida. Are you still here? That's perfectly fine. I understand you might still have some questions, and I'll do my best to answer them right here, so that you can feel 100% happy with your small investment today. 1. Isn't the lottery entirely random? Not at all. This is where many people get confused. The lottery isn't completely random. Instead, it's a game created by humans, which means that, at the end of the day, it has to be winnable. That's why you sometimes hear about individuals finding flaws in the lotto and making a boatload of money as a result. Just a few years ago, a group of MIT students did just that and won $8 million. They got in trouble, but they weren't even doing anything immoral. They just found a loophole. There are actually many stories just like this, but it's very important to always remember that what I'm showing you is 100% legal and ethical and not being dishonest at all. It might feel kind of bizarre when you win so often, but you're doing nothing wrong. 2. How did you create Lotto Dominator again? What I did was analyze the winning components and patterns from repeat lotto winners. I studied the way each of these individuals won and realized they all shared some pretty close similarities. So then, I took the basic components and patterns, joined them with some advanced mathematical probability theory, and designed my own formula. This took many years of hard work, testing, tracking, and tweaking this method. In all honesty, my big prediction for you is if you follow the same method I created to win 7 lottery game grand prizes, you'll greatly increase the odds of you winning as well. That's why after 20 years, I can confidently say I know how to reduce most of the odds that cause people to lose, while increasing the odds that winners have used to win. It took me many years to perfect this, and I actually tried hundreds of variations before I finally found the one that worked. 3. How do I use the Lotto Dominator method to win the lotto multiple times? First, you track the winning numbers for the games you want to play. These can be found online, so you can get an excellent sample size pretty fast. Then, you simply input those numbers into the formula you get inside the Lotto Dominator, and it predicts a new set of winning numbers. You're not going to win the lotto every single time, but this is all about probability theory. By using this formula, you significantly increase your chances of winning from improbable to extremely great. 4. How much money can I expect to win using Lotto Dominator? I like to tell people it varies. Sometimes you could win hundreds, sometimes you could win thousands, and other times you could even win millions. There are some months where you won't win that much, and other months where you'll win much more. Mostly, you'll be focusing on 2 pretty good-sized wins per month. One thing that's really neat about this method is that you typically don't just get 1 or 2 numbers correct. It predicts between 4 and 6, which means the prizes you'll win are likely to be much higher than just a couple $100. 5. What are the terms of the guarantee again? This one's really easy. You get Lotto Dominator for yourself right now by clicking the Add to Cart button that you see at the bottom of the screen. Then, use the method for a full 60 days and see just how much money it will make you. If for any reason whatsoever you change your mind about it, just send me an email and I'll immediately refund your investment with no questions asked. You have a full 60 days. 6. How much time do I have to purchase your method? Not long at all. Like I said earlier, I've limited the number of people who can access this to 200. At the time of recording this, 138 people have already benefited from this method and got Lotto Dominator for themselves, and usually 5 to 10 more people get it each day, now that it's at such a crazy, unbelievable discounted price. 7. How do I get Lotto Dominator? Easy. Click the Add to Cart button that you see below. You'll then receive instant access to my guide, my formulas, my winning tips, and everything else needed to start nailing big tickets for huge payouts. It's that easy.